In the series of magnetic materials video lecture, first I have discussed about the measurement of magnetic susceptibility of FeCl3 solution by Quink's method, and then after I have discussed about the mathematical formulation, that how mass susceptibility can be defined, and the reason why the level of liquid rise up and fall down on the basis of a force which exerted on magnetic dipole in the presence of external magnetic field. And in this formulation we came across to that susceptibility chi is equal to m upon h. So chi, that is the susceptibility, is the ratio of to intensity of magnetization to the intensity of the external magnetic field. So here this h is related to the b, that h is equal to, as you know, h b is equal to mu naught h, where b is the magnetic field density and h is the magnetic field intensity. So these two are related by this relationship. B is density and h is the intensity. So here the idea is clear, that susceptibility is the ratio of two intensities: intensity of the magnetization, that how much that magnetic material is magnetized by the external magnetic force, by the external magnetic field. So the ratio of these two is equal to the susceptibility of that particular material. So to define the chi, we need intensity of magnetization and the external magnetic field. So for this video lecture, my focus is only on intensity of magnetization, because I understand that without the knowledge of intensity of magnetization, no one can understand the susceptibility. So how one can define this intensity of magnetization, and what is this scientific, you can say, observables. So to define the intensity of magnetization, we have to start our first slide with this idea. I have to explain in this lecture intensity of magnetization of a substance. What is that? So for that, the first step is basic understanding of the atomic dipole moment. What is the atomic dipole moment? So for that, I have made here two pictures. In this picture, where these arrows are shown in a random direction, is categorized into the unmagnetized sample. And in this particular picture, where all the arrows are into the same direction, is categorized into a magnetized sample. So what are these arrows? Basically, when the material or substance is unmagnetized, then these arrows are in random directions. But when the magnetic material is magnetized, then that time all these arrows are into the same direction. So what basically these arrow indicates? What are these, and what happens when the magnetic material magnetizes? So to understand it, we will need a basic picture of the atom. So the idea is electric current in atoms. How one can define that electric current flow into the atoms? So for that, we select a simplest case of the atom, that is the hydrogen atom, in which we found only one electron. So electron is revolving around the nucleus, right? So velocity of that is v, mass of the electron is m, charge E, radius of the orbit is R, and this nucleus symbol plus ZE. These are the points, and topic is atomic dipole moment, by which we have to understand intensity of magnetization. Right, so in this series the first point is it here I have mentioned that one atom is equivalent to a bar magnet. Is it possible that a simple atom could be a bar magnet? Yes. Is it possible that one atom is equivalent to the bar magnet? How it could be possible? That process is basically explained systematically here. So this is the simplest case of hydrogen atom in which one electron is revolving. So electron is revolving into this direction, that is anti-clockwise direction. So as a result it will develop a current loop. The direction of the electron is this one, so the direction of the current will be opposite to it. So that current loop is basically defined here. This is current loop of radius R in which I current is flowing. So we know from the Ampere's law, before I tell you that how one atom can be a bar magnet, that I have stopped here at this current loop. So at the current loop I am saying that there is a current carrying conductor in which I current is flowing. So one can find out the magnetic field at this particular point P. Yes, one can find out the magnetic field here at the distance R from it, the current, which is a current carrying conductor. Right. So if you have to find out the direction of the magnetic field, magnetic field direction, for that purpose basically what you will do, you will use right hand rule, and the thumb basically indicate the direction of the current and finger tips toward that point, and the direction of force indicate the direction of the magnetic field. So in this particular situation the magnetic field is inward, and at this point if I have to measure the magnetic field and that direction, so that will be outward from the paper. The direction will be like this one, upward, and here the direction will be downward. So if I catch this wire like this one, suppose this is a current carrying conductor and the current is flowing into this direction. So if I catch this marker like this way, so the rotation of finger basically indicate the direction of the magnetic field lines, and those are inwards. So similar to this is a current loop in which current I is flowing. So if I found it here at any point, I can find the magnetic field line. Suppose this is the direction of the current, so the magnetic field lines will be inwards of this loop, current loop. So this is shown here by these magnetic field lines. These are basically entering into this loop. So this magnetic field basically enter into the current loop. So it means we know that magnetic field lines start from north and reach up to the south pole by this way. It starts from north and reach up to the south pole. So here if you see it carefully, so all these magnetic field lines basically are reaching at the upper face of this one. So it means the upper face will behave like a south pole, and the lower face of this current loop will behave like a north pole. So here you can understand this, that this current loop behaves like a tiny bar magnet, right? Upper face will behave like a south pole and lower face of the current loop will behave the north pole. So if this is the upper face, and the lower face is this one, so upper face is south, behave like this open circle, right? And so here this will behave like a south pole, and lower area of the loop will behave like the north pole, and then that can be equivalent to a tiny bar magnet. So here I have shown this one when the current is clockwise, but when the current is anti-clockwise, the upper face will behave like a north pole and the lower face will behave like the south pole. So this can be shown here by this way. So here through this picture and explanation, one can say that atom can behave like a bar magnet. Atom is equivalent to a bar magnet which have a north pole and south pole. So here again I have shown this picture. This is an atom in which electron is revolving. So the orbit of the electron is equivalent to a current loop, and the current loop further will behave like a bar magnet. The upper face will behave like south and lower face of the current loop will behave like the north pole. So this is equivalent to a bar magnet. So this was the first idea to understand the atomic dipole moment, and our ultimate idea is to understand the intensity of magnetization of any substance. So in next slide here, in which basically I have shown here that atom is equivalent to a bar magnet. So how to find the magnetic moment? If atom is equivalent to a bar magnet, then it is possible to calculate the dipole moment of the bar magnet. So for that, what is the procedure? Procedure is that we define current in terms of the rate of charge, but in opposite direction. So I is equal to minus dq upon dt. So in a formal way I can write it, I is equal to minus q upon t, where t is the time period. Time period means that how much time basically this electron takes to complete one cycle. So t is equal to 2 pi r upon v, where v is the velocity, r is the radius of the orbit, m is the mass of the electron. So t is equal to 2 pi r upon v. I am putting this value here. So and q, that is the charge of the electron, so it becomes I is equal to minus ev upon 2 pi r. And next, the cross area of the loop, this current loop. So area can be defined as pi r square unit vector n. So area basically is shown with the help of unit vector n. As such, area is a scalar quantity, but with the help of, when you are introducing a unit vector with it, it means you are treated this area as a vector quantity, and the direction of that area will be perpendicular to the plane. This is the plane of the current loop, so direction of the area will be perpendicular to it, that is this one. So now we have to define two parameters, one is current and second is the area. And now we know that magnetic moment due to the orbital motion of the electron is defined mu el, where E is the electron representation and L is for the orbital motion. So magnetic moment due to this orbital motion of the electron is equal to I into A, where I is the current which is flowing into this one and A is the area of the loop. So when I put this value of I and A for the magnetic moment of the atom, IA, that is minus EV upon 2 pi r square unit vector n. So mu becomes minus EVR upon 2 into unit vector n. It means this mu, magnetic dipole moment of the atom, is a vector quantity, and the direction is opposite to this one, unit vector n, opposite to this. So if I multiply and divide it by m, so what I found that minus E upon 2m. Here I am multiplying with m, it becomes mvr unit vector n and divide by m. So this vector E upon 2m minus E upon 2m into mvr unit vector n. This is my equation number 5. So in this equation I found the magnetic moment of the electron because of the orbital motion is minus E upon 2m into mvr unit vector n. We know that electron is revolving into this particular orbit around the nucleus, so it will have an orbital angular momentum. So orbital angular momentum is defined by this way: vector L is equal to r cross p, where p is equal to mv. So r cross p, that means this is r radius and this is v, so r is perpendicular to the v every time, and because of that r cross p will be rp sin theta. Theta is 90 degree, so it will be rp. It means p is equal to mv, so you can write mvr. L is equal to mvr, right? P is equal to mv in vector form and theta is 90 degree. So when you will put the value here, r cross p is of 90 degree, so it becomes L is equal to mvr sin theta, and theta is equal to 90 degree, so it is 1. So if I put this mvr unit vector n here, the value of that will be vector L. So mu El, magnetic moment of the dipole because of the orbital motion of the electron, is equal to minus E upon 2m and this vector L. Now I have to put the value of vector L. So there are two things basically which I have to see here, because orbital angular momentum is also quantized, and if in the presence of external magnetic field, the projection of the orbital angular momentum on the z-axis is defined through the Lz, and Lz is further defined in terms of the magnetic quantum number ml. So Lz will be equal to ml h cross. So this is the second point, and I have put the value of vector L is equal to h cross square root L plus 1. Because orbital angular momentum is also quantized, so in the microscopic term we are playing with the semi-classical theory here with atomic dipole moment, and by putting the value of orbital angular momentum, it becomes mu L is equal to minus E h cross upon 2m. When I am putting the value of L here, so it is h cross square root L plus 1, so that h cross together with this constant E and m, then it becomes minus E h cross upon 2m square root L plus 1, where this quantity E h cross upon 2m is known as Bohr magneton, and the value of it is 9.27 into 10 raised power minus 24 ampere meter square. Because mu is defined by I and A, I is the current and A is the area, so unit of that will be ampere meter square, and because of that the EH cross upon 2m will have the same unit, right? So mu B is the Bohr magneton that have the numerical value 9.27 into 10 raised power minus 24 ampere meter square. This is an atomic unit and is known as Bohr magneton. So Bohr magneton is an atomic unit basically. So it came into the atomic dipole moment, right? So by this way you have seen that one atom can be changed into a bar magnet, or on the other hand you can say that an atom is equivalent to the bar magnet. right? So here I have just find out the magnetic dipole moment of the atom in terms of mu, and especially for the electron motion, that is in orbit. So this is the magnetic dipole moment due to the orbital motion of the electron. Mu L, it is represented by mu L. Mu L is equal to minus EH cross upon 2m square root L plus 1. But because I have raised a question here that which value I have to put here for the vector L, because there is one more value of can contribute here when an atom, this is an atom in the presence of external magnetic field. So then that time what happens, the orbital angular momentum basically starts to rotate about the z axis, that I will show you here, and further we take the projection of that orbital angular momentum on the z axis and then define in terms of the Lz, and Lz is a quantized number that is further defined in terms of ml h cross, where ml is the value of this orbital quantum number on the z axis. So for a given value of L is equal to 1 ml varies from minus L to plus L. So minus L to plus L, it means L is equal to 1 ml will have minus 1, 0 and plus 1. So these three basically you can say a quantized orbit basically. So here in the next slide I will discuss about this thing that which I have mentioned in this particular slide, that I have put the value here L is equal to h cross square root L plus 1. Is it logically or not? Because there is one more thing of related to this orbital angular momentum, and that basically is coming only when the atom is placed into a uniform magnetic field, and right now there is no uniform magnetic field, so I have just put this vector L. But if suppose the atom is placed in a uniform magnetic field, then what happens? So here in this slide you can see that when an atom is placed in an external magnetic field, the direction of the angular momentum vector and hence the magnetic moment precesses about the field direction and can have only specific orientation in space. What is it means? It means that this is the original, the first one. Suppose this is the orbit of the electron, so the orbital angular momentum will be this one L, and opposite to it that will be mu L. We have applied some external magnetic field along this direction, that is z direction. So magnetic field applies along the z direction. This is our z direction, right? So now what happens? In the presence of external magnetic field, this L starts to rotate about this z axis, like this one. So this plane starts to rotate, right? If this L is rotating, it means this L is fixed with this plane and this L is perpendicular to this plane. So like this one, this marker on the white paper, if it will tilt, so obviously the page will bend like this one, right? This like this. So the plane will also starts to rotate about this particular axis, in which basically the direction we have applied the magnetic field. So the next situation will be this one, this L will rotate like this one. So this is L, every time this is L, right? This is L, This one is mu L. Mu L is opposite to the L, so it starts to precess around the Z axis, and this particular orientation of the orbital angular momentum, and this is the extreme at this side, so we take the projection of this orbital angular momentum on Z axis, so that is denoted by the Lz. So with respect to the this point, so this will be the value of Lz. So here the orientation of L in an external magnetic field is characterized by its projection Lz, right? So whenever one applied the external magnetic field on the atom, so the orientation of the atom or plane of the atom is characterized by the quantum number Lz, by its projection Lz. So Lz is equal to ml h cross, and as I told you that ml can a specific value for a given orbital quantum number. For L is equal to 1, ml is equal to -1, 0, plus 1. Right, so these number can have with Lz. So Lz is equal to h cross 0 or minus h cross. These are the values. For similarly L is equal to 2, it varies from -2, -1, 0, +1 and +2, like this. And the value here 2h cross, 1h cross, 0, -h cross and -2h cross. 5 values of Lz. Right, so this is the idea of Lz. So Lz we take only when the atom is placed in a uniform magnetic field. Right, so the next the point is again about the magnetic moment. As I told you that magnetic moment, we have seen here mu L is equal to -E upon 2m into L. So earlier I put the value of L as h cross LL plus 1. This one here I put the value h cross LL plus 1 because orbital angular momentum is quantized. But in the earlier slide I told you that when one atom is placed in a uniform magnetic field, it starts to precess around the Z axis and have different orientation into the space. So when I take this orientation, this particular, and take it projection on the Z axis, this is Z axis, so the length of this particular projection will determine by the Lz. So Lz then will be equal to ml h cross, where ml is the magnetic quantum number. So which value I have to put? The earlier one, h cross LL plus 1, or this Lz is equal to ml h cross. So obviously it is true that right now the atom is in a uniform magnetic field, so Lz will be equal to Lz. I have to put the value of Lz here. So when atom is placed in an external magnetic field, its angular momentum vector can take only specific orientation in space, right? So that defines through the Lz its component along the magnetic field direction. The Lz is what? Lz is the component along the magnetic field direction, and magnetic field is applied along the Z direction. So mu L is equal to -E upon 2m into Lz, and that is equal to -E upon 2m ml h cross. Here the point you have to remember that ml is magnetic quantum number and this m is the mass number of the electron. So if I keep these together, E h cross upon 2m, it becomes like -E h cross upon 2m into ml, and you know that this E h cross upon 2m is the Bohr magneton, mu b. Mu b is equal to EH cross upon 2m. You have seen it in earlier slide. The value, numerical value of it is 9.27 into 10 raised power minus 24 ampere meter square. So what is the important point here? I have mentioned that the magnetic moment of a completely filled cell is 0. It means if the capacity of the orbit is 2 electrons and that is filled, so as we have only 2 electrons and that is filled, so the magnetic moment of that will be equal to 0. And similarly for p orbital, p has the capacity of 6 electrons. So all these electrons if filled completely, it means that the magnetic moment of that will be equal to 0. But if somehow suppose p have 5 electrons, then there will be some magnetic dipole moment, non-zero orbital magnetic moment. So this is the point related to when you calculate the magnetic moment. And now the exact value of the formula is mu L is equal to minus ml mu b, right? Minus ml mu b. Mu b is Bohr magneton. So this formula is for only for the orbital motion of the electron. Mu L is equal to ml and this mu b. Mu b is equal to each cross upon 2m. So if you know the value of ml, you can find out the orbital and magnetic moment of the electron. And again I recall that the magnetic dipole moment we are calculating of an atom in the presence of external magnetic field, and it is non-zero only when the cell is partially filled. If any orbit is completely filled, then the magnetic dipole moment of that particular atom will be 0. So now after making clear it that the contribution of orbital motion of the electron, and because of that the magnetic dipole moment, now the second part is the contribution of the spin angular momentum. This was contribution of the orbital angular momentum because of the orbital motion. And now we know that electron is not only revolve around the orbit, it also revolve on their axis also. So the next part, we have seen here that contribution of the orbital motion of the electron, that this was the nucleus, electron was here, so electron revolve around the nucleus. This is nucleus, this one is electron, and this is radial distance r, velocity v. So and because of that we have seen here L is equal to r cross p. You can see here in magnitude mvr, L is equal to mvr. So this contribution we have seen of the electron because of the orbital motion, and the magnetic dipole moment we have calculated because of the mu L is equal to minus ml and this Bohr magneton. So this is the magnetic dipole moment because of the orbital motion of the electron. Now we know that electron not only revolve around the nucleus, but it itself rotate on their axis also, right, with the spin up and the spin down on their axis also. And similarly as in orbital motion, that current, we develop a current loop, right, and because of that we found the magnetic dipole moment. Similarly, electron spin on their axis by spin half and spin minus half down, and because of that current should also produce, and as a result there will be a magnetic moment. So this is the idea for the current one. So in here, spin magnetic moment of the electron, this we have to calculate. So like orbital magnetic moment, the spin magnetic moment can be determined because electron also rotate around an axis of its own. So due to orbital motion of an electron, we have seen that mu L is equal to minus E upon 2m Lz, and when I will put the value of Lz, it is EH cross upon 2m and ml, right? EH cross upon 2m is Bohr magneton, and this is minus ml. Similarly, in the same fashion, if we derive the formula for magnetic moment in case of electron spin, so it will be same, right? Now for spin, mu s is equal to minus E upon 2m sz, as we have derived here. So mu s is equal to minus E upon 2m ms h cross. Sz is the projection of spin angular momentum along the z axis. So that have either plus 1 by 2 or minus 1 by 2. So here mu s is equal to minus E upon 2m ms h cross. You can write it minus Eh cross upon 2m into ms. So mu s is equal to minus ms mu b. Mu, if I know that ms is either plus 1 by 2 or minus 1 by 2, so when I will put the value it, so I can determine the magnitude of mu s, that is basically 1 by 2 of mu b. So mu b is the Bohr magneton, and half of that will be contribution of the spin angular momentum, right? ms is equal to 1 by 2. So this is only approximately correct, not valid for electron spin. This formula which I have derived here, that mu s is equal to mu b by 2, it is calculated only by the analogy of orbital motion of the electron, by considering that electron itself revolve on their axis in addition to the orbital motion. So as we derived formula for orbital motion, similarly we have derived this result by the same analogy, and it is not true basically for the spin angular momentum, right? So this is only approximately correct, not valid for the electron spins. So what will be the exact formula for the spin angular moment that we can describe here? The spin magnetic moment, we have seen mu s is equal to mu b by 2. So this formula we have seen is not valid for electron spin, right? The valid formula is what? The magnetic moment component mu sz along the field direction is mu sz is equal to G multiplied by E upon 2m ms h cross, where we are introducing here one more term, that is G. This is not acceleration due to gravity, remember, this is gyromagnetic rays, or sometimes it is called spectroscopic splitting factor. So this G EH cross upon 2m into ms in a complete way, G mu b ms, where G is a spectroscopic splitting factor or Landes factor, splitting factor. So for the electron spin, G is equal to 2.0023. So the value of G in electron spin angular momentum is approximately 2. So when I put the value of G2 here, and ms is equal to 1 by 2, so these two cancel out, I have only mu b. So mu sz is equal to approximately mu b. So the contribution of the spin angular momentum for the magnetic moment is approximately a unit value, that is Bohr magneton. So mu sz is equal to mu b. So here the electron spin gives rise very nearly one Bohr magneton in the direction or opposite of an external field. So in the presence of external magnetic field, the spin angular momentum contribution also play an important role, because in this calculation we have seen that magnetic dipole moment is equal to the Bohr magneton, and the value of Bohr magneton is small. It matter basically up to some extent in atomic scale. So by this way one can calculate the spin angular calculate the magnetic dipole moment because of the spin angular momentum, because of the spin of the electron on their axis. So again I am revising here that we have seen mu L is the magnetic dipole moment because of the orbital motion of the electron, that is equal to minus mu b and ml. And in case of, because of the spin angular momentum, the magnetic dipole moment is minus ms mu b, which you keep it further with the value of g, that is mu s is equal to g mu b ms in a perfect way. So mu s is equal to g mu b ms. G is the splitting factor, and sometimes it is called Lambda-G factor or spectroscopic splitting factor. So the total magnetic dipole moment of an atom is the contribution of the orbital motion and the spin of the electron on their axis. So mu of an atom is equal to the sum of these two, mu L and mu S. So again now we have the basic idea of atomic dipole moment, that basically that information basically is coming from the contribution of the orbital motion of the electron and the spin of the electron at their own axis. So if suppose this atom is placed in a uniform magnetic field, then how it basically interact with the external magnetic field, then what happens? As I have shown you earlier in a picture, that we know that I have this bar magnet, north and south, the distance between is 2L. A field is applied along this direction, that basically line start from N and reach up to the S. So in this uniform magnetic field a bar magnet is placed. So what will happen, how this bar magnet will interact with this external magnetic field? So all of you are familiar with this concept. So in the presence of uniform magnetic field, when you keep a bar magnet, it basically starts to rotate, or it try to align in the direction of magnetic field. So if you see here, this is N, this is S, so it will attract it towards it. This is N, is this side, this is N, it will repel basically into this side. So a torque basically exerted on the magnetic dipole, and because of that it starts to rotate on their axis and try to align into the direction of the magnetic field. So magnet, on the other hand, you can say that magnetic field try to align or try to orient this magnetic dipole in the field direction. So similar same thing happens with the atomic dipole. If you see here, it that how it interact with the external magnetic field. So for that, consider an electron having no orbital motion is placed in a magnetic field of induction B. So this is the condition, that there is no orbital motion of electron in the external magnetic field. So as a result, the electron spin magnet rotates and the potential energy of the magnetic system changes. So here in this particular section, what is the point? Point is that there is no orbital motion of the electron. We have considered here, we have considered only the spin of the electron, on their axis. So how the potential energy basically of the system change, comes through this interaction. U is equal to minus mu dot B, where mu is the magnetic dipole and B is the external magnetic field. So change in the potential energy is equal to minus mu B cos theta. And now further, since we know that the magnetic spin quantum number ms can take two values, either plus 1 by 2 or minus 1 by 2, right? So plus 1 by 2 state is higher energy state. It represent basically higher energy state of the electron, and minus 1 by 2 represent to the lower energy state of the electron. So suppose before applying the magnetic field, electron is in higher energy state, that is correspond to ms is equal to plus 1 by 2, and after applying the magnetic field it flips over to the lower energy state, minus 1 by 2, right? So there are two concepts. One concept is that electron in the absence of external magnetic field is in plus 1 by 2 state, ms is equal to plus 1 by 2 state, and when you switch on the external